Yeah, no, you haven't seen a Hawks championship yet, but I don't remember it.
You don't remember? How old were you?
I would have been one and a half, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, right. So maybe if you had a really good memory.
Yeah. Have you always been a Hawks fan?
Um, I have always been a Hawks fan in the sense that I started following the NBL as a Hawks fan,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't an avid follower
Mm-hmm.
until the middle of 2023. So I joined in the really rough times.
Yeah, yeah,
Confidently say that I'm a real Hawks supporter and I'm not a
yeah.
bandwagon, contrary to popular belief. I because I started following after I interviewed a player. It was my first NBL player having an article about back in my old job, and I just decided, you know what? This is my team. Let's roll with it. And we started 2-7, and I was thinking to myself, what have I done? I've picked the wrong team. But lo and behold, Mr. Tatum comes in, the king, and really saved the team and saved me really.
Yeah, saved embarrassment.
Roller coaster. It's been a really short roller coaster, but it's been great, and now it's led me to this job. Really.
Sounds like Bitcoin. Who was the player you interviewed?
Well, my editor at the time interviewed him, and then he didn't have time to write the story, and he handed it off.
Yeah.
But it was old mate Lockie Olbrick. So
Oh, shout out. He is a mountain. He is huge.
very he
Oh,
is ginormous. I'm 6'1" and I feel tiny. So
well, yeah. Well, like I'm 6'4", and like because I interviewed one of their GMs, Joe, a couple months ago, and we actually did it like on the court at the WEC, and Lockie and Darius were like doing post game reps in the background, and like I always say, I've never felt shorter than what I did there.
yeah, I feel a need every time I'm off to a Hawks press conference or a basketball press conference. I put on my tallest heels. I make myself 6'5" just to almost fit in. I could be a guard. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. Did you ever play basketball growing up?
I did, but I was a netballer. So
That
what's
would do.
this? New South Wales. I mean, I played the netball version of NBL one. We'll put it that.
Oh, okay. So decent level.
Yeah, I wasn't the greatest in my team. Let's be real, but I was in a team.
Still made it to that level. Yeah, that's
Yeah, so I basketball was kind of off to the side. My second sport was netball, volleyball, and then my third one was athletics, of all things. Um, and then basketball was kind of that one where the coach looks at you and they go, "You're a netballer. You're tall. You're quick. Let's put you in the team."
100%.
So
It's yeah, it's that's my claim to fame in high school sport is that I hit 11 aces in a row in volleyball, but never played ever since. Ever again. But anyway,
11.
yeah,
Are you
yeah.
sure you were versing that team? Like, was there anyone on the other side of the net?
Oh, look, I reckon there was one player who played volleyball. It was a state rep, and he was on our team, so we milked that as much as we could. But I kid you not, I don't reckon there was a single actual volleyball player at this tournament other than him. And when he was on serve, rotating on serve, it was nasty.
Yeah, wow. Good gosh.
Yes, I know. U- use it while you can. Yeah, but tell us, how'd the move down here come about? So you're from Queensland, are you originally?
Yes, I am. I'm from Cyclone Alfred territory. Let's put
I
it
was
that
going to ask that.
way. Yeah, my poor parents back home. I'm terrible in storms. I freak out. So I'm actually really glad that I'm here and not crying in my bedroom, worried
Mm,
about losing a roof.
yeah.
That's as best as I can put it. But I was raised originally in Gundawindi. So if you're gonna get real technical, I'm a border baby.
Okay.
But I
Yeah.
always consider myself a Queenslander. Yeah, the family moved to Brisbane when I was about 1.5 or 2, just before my little sister was born. I say little, but she's 20. So
Oh,
not really.
younger. We'll take it.
Yeah. Younger sister, little to me, she's tiny. But no, I moved when I was really young, and then spent my whole life in Southeast Queensland in the Logan area. But I tell people I'm from Mount Tamborine because it sounds nicer.
Mm.
And I went to school in Waterford. I went to uni down at Bond, and then 2 days after submitting my final assessment, I was starting at the Gold Coast Bulletin.
Oh,
So I
beautiful.
went straight into it. Yeah, I did my interview for the job 5 days after having all my wisdom teeth taken out. So,
I've had that done the last couple of months. I reckon I had the
God,
Yeah, I reckon I had the best wisdom tooth removal of all time because I felt no pain.
really?
I had them completely grown through. It was literally just to free up some more space, but like I just went local in the end. So it was literally just like no digging or anything. But five wisdom teeth, did you say?
Four, all
Four.
four. Yes.
So how was that?
I was puffy faced and I had a lisp. And by the time I was starting the job, I was brand new face, really. I
Oh
didn't look
right.
like I did in my but yeah, so I started the job and I got straight into it. And then I suppose I was very fortunate. I was doing what's called the Digital News Academy. It's sponsored by Google News Corp and Melbourne Business School, basically for journalists in Australia, the UK, and America can do it. They take intakes of 60 at a time, and it's just to build up your journalism skills. And each year they take a group of 25 to the United States. I applied. I was fortunately accepted, and off I went to the US during election, which
Oh
was
wow.
crazy, crazy times. I added some holiday at the start because why not?
Yeah, of
But
course.
we were in DC the night of election for Kamala versus Donald, and yeah, helped cover it from the ground. Did some street reporting, and it just so happened that one of the guys on the tour was the national editor of my now job, and we were talking about how much I love Wollongong, how much I love the Hawks, how I visit as often as I can. And he kind of joked about how there was a position coming available in
Mm.
the month or so after. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And yeah, December, I went home one day from work and decided to check if the job was there. Sure enough, it was. So I
Mm.
applied the next day, and 3 days later, I was in the interview, and within 4 hours, they'd offered me the job. So it was
Wow.
super quick turnaround, super quick turnaround. Yeah. It was Christmas Eve when I was giving my 4 weeks to my previous job. And basically, last week of January, I moved down here and it's been great since.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a good little link because we're obviously like a local podcast down here. But obviously, for those who don't know, you're a sports reporter at the Mercury now. Fresh sports reporter at the Mercury now.
Maybe I
It's
should have
interesting.
said that at the start.
Oh yeah, don't worry. I prefaced it at the start. Don't worry. Yeah, but it's interesting how you say about like connections getting you gigs, particularly in our industry, and like I can resonate with that like so much. I wouldn't have the jobs I have right now if I didn't like exactly the same like you as well. But it's cool how everyone sort of has a story like that. But yeah, Wollongong, the town. Tell us about whereabouts are you based now? How are you enjoying it?
I'm based very, very central. So my office, the Mercury's office, is on the corner of Regent and Market, which obviously is attached to Wollongong Central Shopping Centre, which is really dangerous for me. My poor bank account. Yeah, let's not even go there. But
You're a shopper.
yeah, it's really bad. Sorry, Mum. But I'm a 13-minute walk from the office, 12 minutes from the beach, and yeah, it's great. I mean, I drive most days because I'm scared of getting rained on, but I
Mm.
walked today. So that was me getting my exercise in for the week. But no, it's fantastic. I'm finding my way around. Everyone's so lovely that I've run into. It's great atmosphere at the moment, obviously with the Hawks and with Dragons starting their NRL season this week, which I get to cover the first game, which is
Oh,
super
nice.
exciting. Yeah, off to Jubilee
Sold out.
for round. Yeah, yes. So that's been a talking point. But no, it's very much a sporting community. And as someone who grew up in small town my whole life, I mean, you can't get much smaller than Gundawindi. If anyone is familiar with said town, there's like 600 people. But yeah, it feels like a home away from home, and it always has for me. I've wanted to move near Sydney since I was 15, and this is the best way to do it while not having to pay for Sydney rent.
Yeah, yeah, it's a close drive up anyway. But yeah, I got to ask one more question before we get into the basketball. You mentioned NRL. You're covering NRL. You got an NRL team. Is it Brisbane?
Guys, I swear this is also not a bandwagon. You can
You're
check my
wagon.
you can check my old Facebook
Uh huh.
history. My teams, I've got two teams, well, three essentially, but I know people are going to diss me for having three teams. But my dad grew up a Panthers supporter. Um, my mum, well, we all love Cooper Cronk and Billy Slater and Smith, so always loved the Storm. And coming from Queensland, but not liking Wayne Bennett, in my childhood, we had to go for Cowboys.
All right.
So we're a bit all over the place, but the last decade, it's been a pretty good run of success in my family.
Yeah, yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I can't say the same. I'm a Parramatta fan, but anyway, I think success is the perfect segue because we can now start talking basketball. And obviously, you were there last night. The Hawks got up by 30 points over South East Melbourne in Game 3. Wow,
Yeah,
what do I say?
it had everything. The game really had everything. I was there as a spectator last night, so I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to do anything for work except for make sure I got videos for socials,
Even better.
which was fantastic. Got to enjoy my chicken tenders and basically just chime into all the chants that were being chanted, which we won't repeat some of them for swear words.
I got a funny story about that, and you know, I can repeat it. It's my pod. It's all right. So Matty Russell was commentating, and he obviously this one chant you were talking about was very similar to the Illawarra chant. And he said, "Oh, let's turn the music up. Let's hear this." Little did he know they weren't chanting Illawarra; they were chanting "Sobe's a wanker." But anyway,
Like that's been probably my top three moments of the season. That
that was
chant,
good.
yeah.
Jalen Adams getting ejected a couple of weeks ago was up there.
Oh, yeah,
That
yeah.
was fun.
It was very reminiscent of that. It was very similar feeling, but no. And I was in
Yeah.
the nosebleeds, and it was still roaring, so it was
Mm.
great.
Yeah, yeah. It's a shame it wasn't sold out in the end. But can I talk Trey Kell for a minute? Now, he went on the record himself and said, number 3, it's good to know he remembered how to play basketball. Again, his own words. And I think we're back.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah, the Wave FM Wi-Fi has just done what the Wave FM Wi-Fi does. But I think we're back.
I switched over to hotspot as well. That helped the other day when I was in a podcast.
Oh, okay, cool. No worries. I was talking to Trey Kell, and he himself said, number 3, good to know he remembered how to play basketball. 30 points, and I think 16 of them were in the first quarter. But like after Sunday, that was massive statement.
Oh gosh. I mean, Sunday was I'll start by saying Sunday we played terribly. Like there is no doubt about it. We were shocking.
Mm,
But thank gosh Phoenix played worse in game 3,
yeah,
if that makes sense. The way that we played shit, I'll say it. We played shit
go
on
for it.
Sunday, but Phoenix played even shitter in game 3.
Mm,
So that was the first thing. But I mean, that game too, I think it was our starting guards were 1 from 16 or something at the
mm,
3-point line.
yeah,
Not a stat you want to see in finals. I mean, not a stat you expect from your minor champions for one. But yeah, as soon as he got 1 or 2 going, and as soon as he sunk those first free throws, I think it was pretty clear he was back on track. And um, I think he knew what he needed to do. Really, he knew he needed to come out firing, and he knew he needed to lift a lot from game 2, and that's exactly what he did.
locked and loaded. One thing, like in particular, we're talking about between game 2 and game 3. One thing that stood out to me in particular, I was looking at earlier. So game 2, obviously the biggest or one of the biggest things that stood out was the missed free throws, 12 missed free throws.
Yeah.
Do you know what our free throws were last night?
17 from 17.
17 from 17, not one miss. That
That's
free
a
throw
stat.
has been our
That's a stat
kryptonite.
engraved in my mind.
Yeah, that's been a kryptonite for majority of the year. And I don't know the last time we went 100% from the free throw line, which is, if that's not intent, I don't know what is.
No, I mean, free throws. We've got, we were talking about Lockie just earlier. He's one of two players in the league who actually have a higher field goal than free throw percentage.
Yeah.
I guess it's just fortunate he didn't really go to the line much last night, but it's one of those things, 1 point, when you can score 2 points and you can score 3 points, sometimes you forget how valuable those single points can be, especially in a finals when the pressure's on and momentum can shift so quickly, as we saw in game one, especially. But yeah, and even from long range last night, from deep, we were at 1 point 69% from the three. And I'm pretty sure that was at the end of the first quarter, at the start of the second, and that's just an insane stat to have in a final from 3 point range. So just all overall, our shooting was just so much better in game three.
100%.
I don't know what was said at training. I don't know how many shots they put up, but the difference between game two and game three was astronomical.
Yeah, so I'm looking at here 19 threes from 39 attempts in game three. And if I get up the full box score for game two here and I scroll all the way down to 3-pointers, 7 from 28. So you've got a 25% percentage in game two and you got 48% in game three. So massive difference. And it's kind of hard to say, like, yeah, it's tricky to coach that because, like, you're getting the attempts. So what, 39 attempts from game three, 28 from game two. Okay, that's a fair bit less.
It's a jump in attempts.
What's that?
It's a jump in attempts, but at the same time, the more attempts, the more misses you can get. So
exactly right. Yeah. And it's and it's and look, I'll be completely honest, I'm a bit of a basketball novice, but you keep an eye on it and you can only see what you can see. But it seems like, from my point of view, missing 3-pointers, what can you do other than it's an off day?
yeah, exactly. Especially when shooting percentages are not something that you can coach for a turnaround within 3 days. It's not like a footwork drill or a handling drill where it's easy to correct. It's a long-term thing. So it really is hit and miss. And I guess we just hit at the right time this time around. And hopefully we do for 3 more games. We don't want it to go for 4. We don't want it to go for 5. Let's be real.
Well, no, and I'm sort of stuck in between a rock and a hard place here because I want to get to a game. However, the problem is game 1 and game 3, I'm working both of those nights. So the only way I could see them is if it goes to game 5, and I don't want it to go to game 5. So.
You don't want to travel?
Look, I probably can't, but look, put it this way: I'd much rather go to the WEC than in John Cain Arena, 100%. One guy I want to talk about who has gotten a little mention on this podcast for his nickname, and I discovered he had another nickname today. Todd Blanchfield, Hot Toddy.
Oh, Toddy, yes.
Hot Toddy, apparently his nickname.
Toddy, that's a good one.
Yeah, I was reading the preview last week and they said the man nicknamed Hot Toddy. I'm just like, love to know where that comes from. But another nickname that Trey actually mentioned in the press conference last night, they call him Chicken. Chicken, and I don't understand. Apparently they scream chicken every time he shoots a 3 on the court.
I think, based on these nicknames, I think we should start the same trend that the NBA is having at the moment. I don't know if you've seen all those nicknames going around.
Tell us about it. What's going on there?
Let me get up. I was sent an entire list. I'm pretty sure.
Is this just like random nicknames?
first off the bat, Jason Tatum's been nicknamed the anomaly.
Right.
So there are all these strange, really unique nicknames. I wish I had the list right ready for me, but I didn't save it in the chat. So I actually apologize for bringing this up and not having the
No,
receipts.
that's completely fine.
One of them, I forget his name, the ad hominem fallacy. Like I haven't heard that term since
That
like
that
semester
that that's
one.
unique. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
like Lamelo Ball, mellow. That's easy. But like every time I hear ball or Lamelo Ball or Lavar Ball, I just think of the song that was at Leangelo release.
the tweaker.
I'm a swerve and I come whoa whoa. That's all I hear.
My head. That's
It's-
I sing it every single day. And
you
I only
see,
like the chorus. Let's be real.
I haven't even listened to anything other than the chorus. But like, did you see like how Lavar apparently lost his foot and then he's just breaking out? Strange.
No, I didn't. Off track.
Anyway, yeah, this is a beauty of podcasting, Grace. Beauty of podcasting. Right, so we diverted from that from Todd Blanchfield, but seriously, Toddy Blanchfield was unbelievable, and I seriously, like, he's not underrated by us, but in terms of his contribution this season, like particularly when Darius got injured, his contribution has been phenomenal. I'll go back to the Cairns game away, and if it wasn't for Toddy Blanchfield that night, it would have been a 30-point margin. We wouldn't have had a sniff in that last quarter. But last night, 28 points, 10-15 from the field, 8 3-pointers, which I think is his new playoff record. That's what a player.
Exactly. And especially from a veteran. Like let's not lie. He's not new to the sport. He's been around for I think this is his 14th season or something. So for a veteran, and one that's kind of come from nowhere, I suppose. Obviously, he's had contributions for the past few years and on previous teams as well, but especially the last 5, 6 weeks, I would say, well, excluding the FIBA break, he's come out of nowhere essentially and put up massive numbers and just been quite an integral part of the squad. I mean, he's hit 4,000 career points last night, so that's a huge marker to hit, and especially do it with a 3-point. I think that was nice.
Oh,
I think
sweet.
he would have liked to do it in game two. He needed 8 and he got 6, but what a better game to do it in when you win by 30 and
Mm.
make it to the championships. And I'd say good on Tatum for also putting him in the starting lineup. I know that wasn't planned and it was very last minute. They were on the sideline there and with just before the jump happened. But great game for Toddy. And I think, well, fingers crossed we see him we see him more. I know he wants to get to 500 games in his career. So if we make finals the next season and so, I think that would be maybe two seasons at this rate. So I think we'd all love to see him get there. And yeah, aging like fine wine really on the basketball court. It's just getting
Mm.
better and better the last few rounds and in finals.
Yeah. Have you heard his tendency to interrupt coffee dates internally? I'm diverting again off Todd Blanchfield.
Like
This
actual
is
like date dates.
Oh, well, apparently it was. Well, so Joe, who I spoke to for the first step of this pod, loves to get coffees with Tyler Harvey. Shout out, Joe, if you're listening. But he made a little comment about how Toddy Blanchfield, we don't like Toddy Blanchfield because he interrupts their coffee dates.
Wow.
And apparently, yeah.
Very
So,
personal.
yeah, it was very, very personal. So apparently he tries to sneak in all the time and it's sort of become a running thing. So apparently Toddy's been told to stop trying on the coffee dates. But in terms of the 3-pointers, be my guest, please. But another thing you were talking about, the games he's got to get 500. Interesting show of intent because he has signed with the NBL 1 squad, the Hawks, this year as well, which you'd think he'd be hanging around.
Yeah, well, I know he's enjoyed his Queensland time. The year before last, he was playing for the Gold Coast, and I interviewed him for my last job right during the blitz of this season, and I asked him about if Gold Coast was to have a team, would you support it, or do you think Gold Coast should have a team? And he was all for it. And I thought at one point, if we had an NBL 26 featuring Gold Coast, he might sign for that. But I see him definitely sticking with the Hawks to finish off his career, especially with the camaraderie and the brotherhood. That's a bit cringe to say, but you know what I mean. Like
But it is what they
the
call it.
players, yeah, the players love each other. I mean, most of them live together. They spend all of their time together. So I don't see him leaving family, and I don't see him leaving Wollongong for those last few seasons.
I'm just sort of thinking, I was like, what would be the one house you wouldn't want to live in? It'd be too loud.
Who'd be the messiest?
Who'd be the messiest? Can I throw one out there? I reckon Davo would be the messiest.
You reckon?
I reckon, I don't know.
No. Oh, I suppose he's very hasty in his actions.
Yeah, I feel like he'd be an insomniac up and down the hallway in the middle of the night.
That's me. So I sleepwalk and I sleep talk. I throw pillows. I do all sorts of things.
Apparently I do too. Apparently I'm a serial sleepwalker. But anyway, I digress.
Just digressing again.
Yeah, sorry, just a drive-by on Davo there. Right, so we'll sort of look into the upcoming couple of weeks. So obviously, Championship Series locked in. We're taking on Melbourne United. So game 1's Saturday, 8th of March, 8 o'clock at home. Game 2's 12th of March, Wednesday at Melbourne, 7:30 o'clock on the Wednesday night. Game 3, Sunday, the 16th of March at 5:30 at home. Game 4, if it goes to it, is 19th of March, Wednesday, 7:30. And Game 5, if we need it, is Sunday, 23rd of March, 2:30 p.m. Little word on Melbourne United. Obviously, I'm assuming you caught their semi as well on Tuesday night. Crazy game. But I think this is probably the Championship Series this season deserved this year.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. I watched the first half, and then I had a social game to play because I'm just so popular in the social circles. So I got out of my car, and Perth were ahead, and Cotton was on his blitz and all of that stuff. And then I checked the score after the game, my social game finished, and we lost. And I was barracking for Perth, so
we all won.
I was a bit down in the dumps on the way home. I was really hoping for a Perth v Illawarra final. I would have thought that that'd pop off, and also because Perth can't defend, so it would have been nice. But yeah, insane game. I got home and I rewatched that last quarter. Look, I don't like having a go at refs, and I don't like blaming refs. But the goaltend travel, yeah, the goaltend, the biggest one. I don't know how you can't see it. I don't know how they have it. Maybe I've missed it. I don't even know how you can't put out a statement to say, "Hey, we missed it," like the AFL did with Crows. I think it was last season, or maybe pretty sure it was last season. With that, was it a goal? Was it a behind ordeal? And the AFL came out and said, "We got it wrong. We cost them a final." I don't understand why we're not talking about it more, because it was so blatant, and you genuinely cannot deny that it happened. So I really feel for Perth, and I feel for all the supporters. And I don't know, in some part of my mind, I do feel for Melbourne United. They've made it through, but at the same time, like, surely it's in the back of their minds, we shouldn't be here.
Yeah, it definitely hangs over your head, but you'd think they'd have to get over it. But if that plays in your mind, you never know, right? But I was saying the other night, I was sort of getting asked, "Oh, who would you rather in the final should we get through?" And I was sort of looking at it, I was just like, well, I'd rather play. I feel like Melbourne are the better team, but Perth is the worse away trip, and it's sort of just like either or. Like, I'm sort of thinking, if you have to win. Or unless if you don't want to go to Game 5, you have to win one over in Perth, and that's super hard, although we have done it this year. But Melbourne is definitely in terms of a team, I think is the tougher ask. But at the same time, we've had their measure the last couple of times as well. So looking forward to it anyway.
I would describe it as I would prefer to play Perth, but I would prefer to beat Melbourne.
100%. I think you've described that perfectly.
It feels like coming up against Melbourne United in a grand final just makes so much sense, especially considering the history of last year. And I think the fans would rather see and feel the atmosphere of Illawarra v Melbourne than they would of Illawarra v Perth, for the fact that they're on, like there's so much angst in that kind of head to head. And at some point, a scoring fest like we've seen Perth and Illawarra this season, it gets a little bit too much. And, you want to see defense as much as you want to see hero ball 3 points here and there. So, yeah, I'm not mad about it. And I also think, call me superstitious, but last year, Melbourne United finish on top of the table, and then they lose to third seed in the grand final. If Perth had have made it through, it could have been a repeat of that. We finished first on the ladder and Perth finished third seed. So in my mind, I would have been stressing about that the whole time.
I love that.
Keep me going.
I love that woo-woo. I love it. It's brilliant. Look, we've only got 5 minutes on the Zoom, so I'll just get to my last little one. JT's gone on the record. Now, this makes me nervous. This makes me very nervous considering his ties to the NBA. But JT's gone on the record speaking to Cross Court saying, at the end of the day, I have aspirations of wanting to get on an NBA level. How long is he locked down to? He's locked down for a couple of years, is he? Or is it...
2 more seasons.
Okay, good. We got time.
Yeah, we've got time. We have time.
Yeah. But you can't deny the link between NBA and JT.
The only thing is, though, he had this miraculous jump from only ever coaching high school basketball and being an assistant coach to being given head coach job and basically taking the reins. Like, that's one thing with NBL. But the jump from NBL to NBA coaching is a whole new ball game, if you know what I mean. Like, I haven't necessarily followed the NBA and the NBL and Eurobasket and all of that for very long at all, but it doesn't take a genius to know what a leap that would be. I don't see it happening within 5 years. Old mate has time. He's not old. Let's be real.
He could probably still play.
He could probably still absolutely thrash anyone in a 1v1. So I'm not too fazed about it happening in the next 5 years. And anyone can come out and say they want to be in the NBA and be a coach or be a player and whatnot. So good on him for having aspirations. But may I also add, Jason Tatum would rather get a second chip than see the Hawks win. So where are the loyalties?
I mean, everyone's saying, oh, yeah, get Jason over here to play like a celebrity game for the Hawks or something, and he's going out and saying that. I mean, give me Toddy Blanchfield any day of the week. And who's this Jason Tatum?
Yeah, I mean, it cost us 7 figures plus to get Scottie Pippen out here just to support the NBL. I can't imagine how much it would cost to have Jason Tatum play. So.
Oh, man. I don't know how much it costs Jason Tatum to breathe the air inside the WEC, let alone take to the court. But anyway, we'll
maybe get him holding a koala.
What's that? Sorry?
Get him holding a koala. Where's the nearest zoo around here?
Oh, Symbio. I don't know if they have koalas though.
I have no idea where that is.
Helensburg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if Symbio has koalas though, but yeah, I think I've just given you a day trip idea after Symbio. There we go.
Yeah, well, I've got to get my geography down somehow.
That's it. All right, Grace, hey, thanks heaps for coming on. Really appreciate it. Yeah, that's Hawk Talk.
Fantastic.
Enjoy the NRL this weekend.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I hope I've been insightful on this front.
It's good. It's good that someone with knowledge is actually on this podcast for once as well. So it sort of enlightens it a bit. Yeah, knowledge of anything.
Glad you think I have knowledge. I'm going to live with that.
Just raise the IQ of this podcast dramatically.
Thank you.